We've all felt joy, sadness, anger, but have you ever stopped to wonder how scientists can actually study those feelings? I mean, how do you turn something so personal into cold, hard data? Well, today, that's exactly what we're going to explore. It's a massive question, isn't it? Emotions are just messy. They're spontaneous, they're complicated, and they feel different for everyone. So let's dive in and see how researchers tackle this, starting in the most controlled place you can possibly imagine. Okay, so our first stop is the lab. You can think of it like a clean room for emotions. This is where researchers use what are called laboratory paradigms to create these super structured situations where they can watch our emotional processes with just incredible precision. Now, the key word here is control. In these lab studies, every single person gets the exact same experience. I mean, the same video clip, the same sound, the same task, everything is standardized. And that is absolutely essential if you want to isolate what's really going on. Yeah, it's kind of like a movie set, right? Everything is scripted. This lets scientists measure things with amazing detail, from tiny changes in your heart rate to the twitch of a facial muscle. But, it also makes you wonder, what kind of questions can you even answer inside a world that's so carefully staged? Well, this is where lab studies totally shine. They're perfect for answering those very specific what-if questions. What happens if someone sees a scary picture? Or what happens if a couple has to solve a really frustrating puzzle together? The lab lets us find these direct cause and effect links that are pretty much impossible to spot out in the wild. But of course, our emotions don't actually happen in a lab. So let's see how we build on this. We're going to leave that clean room behind and step into the messiness of the real world, using a tool that you probably have in your pocket right now. So this method is called Ecological Momentary Assessment, or EMA, and it basically turns your smartphone into a research diary. Throughout the day, your phone might buzz with a quick survey. Hey, how are you feeling right now? Who are you with? What are you up to? It's a snapshot of your life, in the moment. And this is where the real power is. Studies like the one from 2023 can create this incredibly detailed map of our emotional landscape as it's actually happening at work, at home, when you're out with friends. It's the perfect bridge between the controlled lab and life as we actually live it. But you can't just spam people with questions all day, right? That would be so annoying. Researchers actually have to be pretty clever designers. They have to write prompts that are crystal clear, set up a notification schedule that doesn't drive people crazy, and figure out ways to keep them actually responding. Okay, so we've got the controlled lab and the in-the-moment phone diary. Let's move on to our third major method, which involves stepping back even further and just watching. With observational studies, the whole goal is to capture genuine, authentic behavior with zero interference. Researchers might record a couple having a conversation about a tricky topic, or maybe a team trying to solve a problem. And then they go back and they meticulously code everything. Every glance, every shift in tone, every single gesture. It really is like being a fly on the wall. This gives us this amazing window into what scientists call dyadic interactions, which is really just the emotional dance that happens between two people. It shows us all the subtle, nonverbal ways we affect each other's feelings, a lot of times without even realizing it. So what really sets observation apart is that realism is king. Period. It is hands down the best way to see how emotions actually work in our relationships and in our social lives, totally unfiltered and unscripted. So, we've got the super controlled lab, the real-world smartphone diary, and the fly-on-the-wall observation. 3 really powerful methods. So, how do they stack up? And how on earth does a researcher pick which one to use? And right here, this is the fundamental trade-off in emotion science. It's this constant balancing act. The lab gives you amazing control, but yeah, it can feel pretty artificial. EMA gets you that real-world data, but you're relying on people to accurately report how they're feeling. In observation, you get totally authentic behavior, but trying to figure out why it's happening can be really, really tough. And, that's really the main takeaway here. No single method is perfect. They're all just tools in a toolkit. The best scientists don't just pick a favorite, they choose the right tool for the very specific question they're trying to answer about our incredibly complicated emotional lives. So that leaves us with something to think about. If you were trying to understand what makes people happy, which tool would you pick? Would you bring them into the lab, track them on their phones, or just watch them from afar? The method you choose isn't just a scientific decision, it's the very lens that shapes what you can learn about being human.